Stay right there, Stephen A. We're going to need you in a little bit, but let's go to the man who broke the news, Adrian Wojnarowski, our own NBA insider, sitting with Malika.
Janae, thank you so much. Revisiting this breaking news here on NBA Today, that LeBron James, according to our senior insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, has agreed to a contract extension to stay in Los Angeles. So first, Woj, can you give us the exact details on this contract?
Yeah, Malika, 2-year extension, $97 million. Could be worth up to $111 million if the cap goes up in 23-24. So now LeBron James under contract. This year, he was heading into the final year of his deal. Then 23-24, he's got a player option now in 24-25, along with Anthony Davis. And so the Laker organization now, they can have potentially about $20 million in cap space this summer. And then the following year, where really Davis and LeBron James are really the only two under contract based on the current roster, they'd be able to add another max player or split the money up among more players.
Right.
But I think for LeBron James, the timing right now, listen, this is where he wants to be. There's nobody who potentially would have cap space next summer that would interest LeBron James to even look at free agency. And listen, at 37 years old, he'll be 38 in December, still at the very top of his game. And with this contract, Malika, now $532 million in career earnings. That surpasses Kevin Durant's guaranteed deal, the most that any player in the league. He's now the highest earning player in the history of the game. His agent, Rich Paul of Clutch Sports, they finalized the terms of the deal really just in the last hour. And now LeBron James under contract with a player option through 24-25.
You touched on this a little bit, but finalizing the details in the last hour, he was eligible starting a couple of weeks ago to work toward this extension. Woj, why now?
Well, I think for LeBron James, he keeps control of his future. Now, he's not eligible because it's an extension and not a new contract for a no-trade clause. You saw Bradley Beal get that with Washington, but because they're doing an extension, you can't now include that into the deal. But now he's got essentially, a $50 million salary. Also, I'm told in the deal, a 15% trade kicker. And then his stature, who he is, and this organization. LeBron James is not going to be traded. Right. And so with or without that clause in his contract, he'll be able to control his future. And certainly for now, the chance to try to get, this Laker team healthy again. If Russell Westbrook is going to be here to figure out an onboarding with him that works this season with Darvin Ham. Listen, right now this is probably not a championship contender with the Lakers, still a very good team, but there's still an opportunity to put those pieces back around LeBron James, Anthony Davis as they move forward, and now having him under contract, certainly if you're a player who wants to play in L.A., who either is looking to push for a trade to L.A. or looking at their cap space next summer, LeBron James is part of that equation.
Well, and I would imagine as the Lakers look to sort of answer some of those questions, figure out how they want to make any adjustments here, removing those questions, that distraction at this point is a good thing for the organization. You mentioned Anthony Davis, you mentioned Russell Westbrook. When we're looking ahead for the Lakers, what does this do to their cap flexibility for what they can do in the future to build around him?
Yeah, it doesn't really impact their ability. Again, I think having that player option in 24-25 where both Davis and LeBron James can decline their option. When you decline the option, allow a team to use the cap space, it creates more space for you to go out and add players. So the Lakers, listen, they were not able, at least thus far, able to really improve this roster dramatically. Russell Westbrook is headed into the final year of his deal. But next summer, certainly, there's an ability to do that, to have some cap space, to start moving some pieces around. And I still think this is a Laker team. Rob Pelinka has still been very active, even kind of in the dog days of August.
Yes.
He's been on the phone a lot. He's still trying to find deals to bring in more shooting, perhaps some size. And so I think those conversations continue all the way into training camp and the start of the season. I still think this Laker roster may look maybe not dramatically different, but subtly different going into next season.
And we will be standing by to see how those differences can shake out. Woj, thank you so much for your insight on this and your reporting.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.